Welcome back. Joining me is Jess Chapman, and she is the owner of Ethree, a remote company operating in Newfoundland and Labrador. Hi, Jess.
Nice.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you, and we have spent some time together online, virtually,
Indeed.
through some of NLOWE's programs. But let's first just talk a little bit about your involvement with NLOWE.
So I've been a member and supporter of NLOWE for a number of years and recently became a board member as well. So I've certainly been around to experience what they have on offer. From my perspective, NLOWE is a fantastic organisation to support any women entrepreneur who's starting or scaling a business. I always say there's two things you need when you're going to be an entrepreneur. You need a network to help you find all the opportunities and the capital, and you need a community, because sometimes being the owner of a business is hard and you need the people around you to provide support. And I've always found that NLOWE does both brilliantly, and so I always recommend NLOWE to people when they're thinking about starting a business.
Wonderful advice, and it's true, because if you were working as an entrepreneur starting up, there's a lot of alone time.
There is.
And knowing that you have a network, a family, a group, a tribe, makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the board. I wanted to come back to that because there are board members across the province. And are you a new board member? Did I catch that?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
I joined the board last year.
Okay, well, how has this been for you so far? What have you brought and taken away?
It's great. So one of the things I do like is that NLOWE is a provincial organisation, and we do have representation from the Avalon all the way up to Happy Valley Goose Bay. And so it's an opportunity for us to come together and help support and shape the direction of the organisation. We've just gone through the organisation's refresh of the strategic plan, so that was a useful endeavour. We do a lot of planning work anyway, but it was nice to be part of that from an NLOWE perspective, and to meet some women entrepreneurs who were from different parts of Newfoundland I might not otherwise have met.
How critical is the board role? I mean, I don't want that to be a silly question, but how much time do you put in? What is the typical year for you as a board member?
So we meet 4 times a year, usually for a day, sometimes longer, depending on what's on the agenda. From my perspective, board oversight governance for an association like NLOWE is a critical part of how the organisation functions. So our role is to ensure that we have the right decision-making processes, that there's kind of the leadership of the organisation is prudent, and that all the risk management pieces that you'd expect to see are in place. So it's really a governance role that we play to support Jennifer and the team. And so we do come together regularly. There's an agenda. We sit down and talk about the things that we need to provide input into, and help to make sure that everything is running the way it should be. There's also an advocacy role when you're a board member. So when you come to an NLOWE event, you'll meet a large number of the board. We're here to help connect with the members, support questions, help people find what they need, and navigate the NLOWE organisation.
Wonderful. Now, back to your business, which is HR.
Largely, yes. That's the large part of it.
So you get to bring those skills as well and that understanding. Just very quickly, how did your business start?
So I'm clearly not originally Canadian, so I moved over to Canada in 2007. And my background is in all things to do with people at work, largely in things like change management, cultural strategy, that type of work. And I was working here. I came over with a company that bought Johnson Insurance. So I was here to help integrate some of their practices into the global organisation. There are not a lot of people who have my kind of background, and so I was getting a lot of requests to do work for other organisations. So I struck out on my own and started the business in 2014.
In 2014, so you have quite a few years under your belt now.
10 years in now, yeah.
Biggest challenge that you found?
Probably the same that anybody who's trying to scale a business would find, particularly here on the island, in talent. We're a knowledge-based business. You have to have expertise to do what we do. We help businesses think about the people challenges they have as they scale, and so I need people with very specific skill sets. That's not always as easy to find to deliver the quality and caliber of the services that we expect. So it's taken a while to build the team, but now we have the team in place, and I can focus on working on the business rather than being in the business, which is always the holy grail, I think.
I think so. And it's so hard to do that when you are more or less the jack of all trades. We are often working in it, but that's an exciting place to be.
Yes, it is.
So what thoughts come to mind as you approach working on the business?
So biggest chunks for me are around how we execute on our strategy for growth. So making sure we have a strategy. And I do find sometimes small business owners don't necessarily spend their time looking at the strategy that they need to grow, but otherwise you're going to be running full tilt doing 4,000 things. So how do you decide what's most important. So my role now is really on the business development side of things. So I get to come and be at places like NLOWE and other conferences to make the connections and relationships that we need to scale and to make sure that we're continuing to deliver the quality of services that we've historically had as I move away from being the one that's the face of delivery.
And you support companies who can't really have an in-house HR. Is that how that works?
Yes. So we generally work with organisations that would be in the small and possibly medium-sized category when you look at the federal definitions. So people who have 0 to 99 employees generally don't have an HR team. They might have an HR person, don't have an L&D team doing learning or training, and we can fill in the gap. So if it's anything to do with people and how people work, we can help.
Okay. Jess, I'm going to just jump on this because I have really seen challenges in the HR area. You talk to anyone and you ask them, what is the biggest challenge within their company? HR. Are you seeing that, and where do you think it's going?
So the world is changing, and that can bring some challenges and certainly a need to think about how you handle people in your workplace. So when you look at demographic changes, we look about diversity and inclusion, we think about mental health and the way that that's trending. These are things that affect people, and if they affect people, they're going to affect your workplace. So what we've done in the past, whilst it may have got us here and made us successful, is not necessarily the way we need to function going forwards. And so that we definitely see. And we predominantly work with small businesses. They are the majority of the economy, and they often don't have the HR resources. You've got a senior leader or the owner trying to deal with the people stuff on top of all their day-to-day running around running the business. So it is a challenge, and it is one that, I think is surmountable, but that's why people like us exist.
Do you ever? Well needed and well loved. And actually, Cheryl Cran, who is the keynote speaker at the luncheon here at the conference, amazingly is covering a lot of this. I'm sure you'll enjoy her everywhere.
Excellent.
And we're all taking home Cheryl's book as well. Perfect. But thank you for your insights, and thank you for your work as a board member for NLOWE. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
We're going to just jump out to the trade show floor because Ethree is part of the trade show, and we had a little chat with Maddie, who works for Jess. And continuing through the trade show, we have stopped in at Ethree, where we're going to talk to Maddie Coombs. Maddie, tell us all about Ethree.
Absolutely. So Ethree is a HR organizational effectiveness consultancy, and effectively what we do is we work with organizations to help with the people stuff. So anything from from recruitment, retention, understanding who you're looking for in your business, we would be there to support you through that, and helping those small to medium-sized businesses that don't have the HR support that you need. So whether that's employee relations, asking questions, just looking to give that support to your people and grow your business, that's where we fit in.
Well, I certainly with small business, it's something that is so important and so costly to have in-house.
Yes.
So this is amazing. Where's your client base?
Well, mainly in Newfoundland. So working, again, like I said, with all small to medium-sized business organizations that, to your point, they don't have the opportunity to bring in a HR department or an individual. So we come in to help with those smaller pieces. So, I mean, we have clients in industries, whether it be in oil and gas, whether it be in tech, whether it be research and development. So we kind of nonprofit as well. We fit everywhere and kind of really scope into what you need. So it's not that idea of, well, this is what you need, we'll put it in. We need to figure out what it is that you do. What's your culture? What's your organization? Who are you looking for? All those pieces to get together and help you grow, but also make it a place that your people want to work and grow and innovate and things of that nature.
Wow. Beautifully described, and thank you so much, Maddie.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so there are solutions to everything here at NLOWE. Women are being very inventive, and I'm so glad that we can share these ideas and stories with you. Welcome back. Joining me is Jessica Brown, Indigenous artist and entrepreneur. Jessica, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, a pleasure. In fact, I enjoyed meeting you on the trade show floor. You are over there with a wonderful booth and some exciting things going on.
Absolutely.
One of your businesses, and we did have a wonderful chat with Tara McDonald, but is the St. John's Fashion Week coming up. Just take a few moments to tell us a little bit about how that idea came to you.
The idea came to me because I travel a lot for work, and I would see things happening in other cities like Toronto and Vancouver, really exciting, fun events, and I just thought, why aren't we doing that here? And it really just came from this, like, wouldn't that be amazing and fun? And a short while later, it was like, okay, this is actually happening now.
It's amazing how sometimes our travels can bring us ideas and inspiration just to move out of where we are right at the moment.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you describe yourself as an artist, an Indigenous artist and creative. Where are your roots in this province?
So I'm a Nunatsiavut Inuk. I was born and raised in Happy Valley Goose Bay in Labrador, but I've been based here in St. John's for the past 5 years or so with my 2 children, Benjamin and David.
You also have a couple of companies. You're a busy lady. You also have Ujarak Media, and you have the nonprofit Northern Film Initiative. So let's continue on with your businesses and learn more about them. Let's start with Ujarak Media.
So Ujarak Media, it was kind of born out of necessity because I had a television series in development. We received some support from the Indigenous Screen Office, and it was a way for me to accept the funding without it going into my personal account. It was born out of necessity, but in the past, year or so, we've actually produced 2 documentary television series.
And Tara was part of that, was she not?
Tara was a part of the second one. So the first one is called Here to Stay. It's a documentary series highlighting urban Indigenous artists here in St. John's. And the second television show that I produced is called Unsung. And Tara McDonald hosted the show, and we told the stories of Indigenous veterans here in Newfoundland.
What an interesting show that's going to be, and that'll be coming up soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Your nonprofit Northern Film Initiative, tell us about that.
So the Northern Film Initiative was a way for me to ensure representation both in front of and behind the camera on my productions. So it is a way for us to mentor and train Indigenous youth behind the scenes. We've had job placements on different sets and, professional development happening in the film, television, and media sector.
Now, you do not stay still very long. I've gathered this from speaking with you that you're traveling a lot, and you recently were up in Goose Bay again, Happy Valley Goose Bay, I guess I should say. And what were you doing up there?
So I traveled to Labrador with the Nunatsiavut government. I went to the Nunatsiavut Artist Gathering, which was, Inuit artists from all over. And I actually went there with a photographer, and we taught a workshop how to market your art. So we brought light boxes for each of the artists, and it's just like a way for artists to use the tools that they have to get professional quality photos of their art, so then they can go online and they can market it. So we talked on social media and how to use that as a tool.
That's wonderful, because many times artists, as creative as they are, that's where their energy goes, and trying to deal with the whole world of social media, getting it out there remains a challenge. So do you have other plans for further workshops?
Yeah, I really enjoy working with other artists. If I can help somebody, I'm always happy to. I'm definitely a people person, so I just really enjoy, meeting other artists, especially, going to Nunatsiavut, because I'm a Nunatsiavut beneficiary. That was really special to me.
And you do help a lot of people. The Newfoundland and Labrador Arts Council recognized you as Emerging Artist of the Year.
That's right.
How did that feel?
I was surprised. I knew I was nominated, but then when I found out that I won, I was like, wow, really? It was really nice to be recognized, because I've just been working so hard, and I often don't take time to reflect and be like, wow, I've accomplished a lot. So I think, it's nice that other people are noticing, and the Arts Council, they've been so supportive.
That's wonderful to hear. I've also experienced wonderful support from the Arts Council in the past, and it's so important, and we'll throw this out to make sure the government hears us, that these organizations are funded, because as people are emerging and developing that kind of hand-holding sometimes, and it's well deserved.
Yeah,
you work
absolutely.
hard for your recognition from the Arts Council, but it really helps just to say, here's a step up.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
We've noticed what you've done. So in all your travels, you came up with the idea for St. John's Fashion Week. Tell me a little bit about where you've gone, what you've seen, how it's influenced you.
You know, even last week I was actually down in Los Angeles, and it was just so incredible to see all the public art and so many exciting things happening there. And next week I'm in Halifax and, you know, Ontario in a short while. So every time I go somewhere, I feel so inspired, and it's like I pick up little pieces of things that I love. It's like I just think, why can't we do that here in our region? And I think there's no reason why we can't be doing some of these really exciting and cool and contemporary, you know, things that you're seeing in Toronto and Montreal and Los Angeles. Because here in our province, we just have so much talent and so many artists and creators. So I think it's just providing that platform for people to share who they are, their art, and, you know, for people to just like really enjoy that.
I'm excited to hear you say that, because I agree with you. I think we have so much talent here, and I've interviewed so many authors in our province. There are so many talented writers and creators here, and we do need to recognize them. So as a closing sentiment, what is your greatest hope for the Fashion Week this summer?
My hope is that everybody feels welcome and that everybody feels represented, and, you know, that people can come out and they can just enjoy themselves, enjoy being immersed in fashion, and, you know, maybe seeing something that they've never seen before and feeling inspired.
That sounds like a great way to end this conversation, and I know it's all going to happen. I can feel it coming from you. So best of luck with that. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jessica,
you
for
so
taking
much.
time. Now don't go away, because we'll be right back with another interesting episode. Welcome back. Well, I've promised to bring you very engaging stories from women entrepreneurs from around our province, and we're going to check out an entrepreneur who has a business in Clarenville, Newfoundland. Welcome, April Penney.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
It's a real pleasure. Refined Barbershop today. Yes. Now, you have been working in the hair industry for a long time.
Yes.
And now you've taken a new step.
Yes.
Tell me all about it.
So I have been in the industry just about 20 years now, and I noticed a gap in the industry where we were kind of trained to get men in and out. They were a quick service that you can get in and out in a short amount of time, probably squeeze them in between a service. And I absolutely hated that. I hated them feeling coming in and, all right, we just got to get you in and get you out of here and give me your money. And that's not to say that's what all the industry is like. It's just the way it was. So I was like, no, we need to slow it down. Men are starting to get into more care now. They're more grooming. So I reached out and I started doing more barbering when I was still in the salon atmosphere. And then during COVID, hair stuff kind of stopped or whatever. So then I went into sales and into car sales, actually, which I learned a lot about financing. It was very beneficial moving forward to my own business. Hated sales though. So then I said, well, okay, I got to do something. And an opportunity come up for a place, and I said, I'm going to go for it. So within like 2 to 3 weeks, I had decided I was going to open a barbershop, and I was not going to go half into this. I was going all in. So I wanted to fly to London, England, go to London School of Barbering, which I had been eyeing for years, and just went for it.
I'm excited. I have goosebumps listening to you. You did what Tony Robbins says. You took massive action.
Yeah.
You made a decision and you put yourself behind it. I think, and I'm not in your industry, but I think you caught a trend, because I have a daughter who's a makeup artist.
Yeah.
I am seeing more of a tendency for males to look into skincare.
100%.
You know, so I think you have caught the wave.
Yeah.
Maybe it has already gone up, but here in Newfoundland, I would say it's still rising.
Definitely. And there's been some amazing barbershops here in St. John's. It's kind of put us all on the map. The downfall in Newfoundland is that it's hard to find barbers because There's no school for it. There's a cosmetology school, which is amazing and which is what I had done, but there is no school to train barbers. So we have to source outside to bring in barbers or to train them under us. So I currently have one lady at my shop, and she started out from day one with me. I have a red seal, so now I'm going to train her under me, and she's doing phenomenal.
Okay, a few things I've heard here. Maybe we see a school in your future.
Maybe,
Maybe, but you got your red seal, which I think we do encourage all the time through NLOWE. Improvement, education with entrepreneurs. Yeah, so that was this significant accomplishment for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, education is key. And right from the very first job I ever had, this lady to train a lot of people in Clarenville. She always made education number one. And actually, I'm in here on a mission this week to kind of reach out to a barber who has a very diverse clientele and different types of hair. And because Newfoundland is just kind of growing in, like, the people coming into Canada and stuff like that. So we got to grow with that too. Like, we got to learn how to cater to, like, certain types of hair and challenges. So I'm looking to kind of bring them in to do a little training with my staff.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
What did you take from London? You said it was on your wish list for so many years and you finally did it. Tell me about that experience.
London is just amazing. It is the most diverse place in the world. I went to London because I could have done the training other places, US, wherever, but it's just, how cool is it to go to London and get barbering training? There's a barbershop on almost every corner. So I'd get up early in the morning and I'd scout out some barbershops, go to class, go and visit these barbershops. A lot of them were Turkish. And I'd walk in and I'm like, hey, I'm from Canada and I'm opening a barbershop. Can I come check out your place? And they were super welcoming. And I got to train with some really amazing, skilled barbers.
You're almost like a barbershop ambassador at this point.
Yeah.
So your shop, tell me about your shop. Does it have a traditional barbershop sign?
It does. Yeah. It's when you walk in, I got like the brick wall, which is very England, because everything obviously is, a lot of the buildings are stone. So I kind of got that inspiration. It's very comfortable. Like, we wanted to make a spot that's super comfy to come into, where guys can just chill and relax or whatever. And my staff is small. There's 3 of us. You probably take on 1 to 2 more max. I like a nice, small, intimate staff. It gives you that, like, family vibe. Like, all of our clients, even if they don't come to me or my other staff members, they all feel like they know all of us, right? So it's really important to still kind of keep that intimacy intact in small businesses.
It sounds like you've really put a lot of thought into what you want and how you want to do this. And all the way along, I was thinking, men's hair? Like, all right, take me there. How many different things can you do with men's hair?
Oh, you can do a lot. Like, there's the cutting, and then there's the shaving, and there's a whole line of products that come along with that, because men have really irritated skin in the winter in Newfoundland. So let's go back a few years, they just weren't into it, right? And now they're getting educated on it, dealing with their dry skin. So now we got some really nice looking beards going around because they're not uncomfortable to grow them out.
Interesting. And a beard in Newfoundland in the winter is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But beard grooming, I have seen a lot.
Handsome beard is key.
Yeah, okay. But beard grooming, big business, really, products for that.
Yeah.
And then cutting beards and so on.
Well, a gentleman, when he goes to look in the mirror and he's trying to do that nice line underneath, he's up like this trying to look, right? Whereas we got the advantage. We can put it right in there. A lot of our guys just only come in just for us to put that line in for them. They maintain it for a couple months and it slowly travels down their neck. And they come in again and we line them up again.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad to see you're doing this. I'm glad to have you representing Clarenville here on this show. And if you have any words of advice to young entrepreneurs that are starting up, what might they be?
Reach out to organizations like NLOWE. There was a point in the very beginning of my journey that I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I feel so alone in this world of entrepreneurs and business people. And it's where some people are very guarded with their information on how to do their business. So when I came across Betsy Saunders with NLOWE, my world changed. I was ready and she was there. She's like, I got you. I'm holding your hand. We're going to get through this and I'm going to put you to this person and that person. And it's just been amazing. NLOWE for sure, CBDC, all of those amazing organizations. Even if you're even considering opening a business, start there for sure.
Start there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that thought. And thank you so much for coming here. And before I go, I have to also put in a plug for Betsy Saunders and Lindsay Mercer, who are the representatives for Central. You're right. They're helping so many women. Phenomenal. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Well, folks, that's our show, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.